Welcome back, and continuing our conversation. Today, you were talking about the fact that the consumers have been at the wrong end of the stick. But it turns out that it's World Consumer Day. But those institutions that have been put in place to ensure that the consumers, they have a right, they have a way to complain if they feel hard done by, how far would you say we've gone in ensuring that the consumers speak when they need to?
Well, I would like to answer your question from two perspectives, from two angles. One from the consumer perspective, one from the regulatory perspective. As far as I'm concerned, the laws are there. The Consumer Protection Act 1992 made adequate provisions, both express and implied provisions, to enable and empower the Consumer Protection Council to take adequate measures to protect the consumer. But most of those provisions are hidden inside of the books. The CPC hardly, perhaps as a result of financial constraints, perhaps I may want to admit that, but there is a deficiency in the operations of the CPC. We have other organizations like SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria, NAFDAC, CBN is a regulatory agency, NERC is a regulatory agency, along the DPR is a regulatory agency. If we start looking at these regulatory agencies one after the other, we would all be on the same page in agreement that they have failed in their responsibilities. On the side of the consumers, consumerism is not even existent in Nigeria. Consumerism is a mass movement, a social movement, whereby people come together to ensure that their rights, their interests as consumers are adequately protected. You undertake it, you use several methods: advocacy, litigation, protest marches, and all sorts of methods to achieve the objectives of consumerism. But it is not existent in Nigeria. And so Nigeria today is the country with the worst form of consumer protection all over the world.
How did you get that statistic?
Yes, it's because, okay, let's use one example. The recent case, the popular case, the Fijabi Adebo case against NBC, Nigerian Bottling Company, and NAFDAC. It clearly shows what is happening in the Nigerian system. Since 2007, that was when that case happened. A set of goods, consumer goods, that were certified, that everybody consumes every day in Nigeria as a good product, was taken abroad. And every European country, after failing the United Kingdom standards, it was also taken to the European Union body to also know whether that same product can be exported to another European country. It failed all of the tests across board in Europe. That is a problem. That shows you that Nigerian consumers are suffering. Now, as regards your question as statistics, where is it in the world that you have estimated billing? Where is it in the world that a court of competent jurisdiction will give an order that a producer or a supplier of goods should not increase its price? The producer or supplier impugns the integrity of the court and increases its prices.
Are you talking
about the power situation?
Power situation, yes. But where is it in the world where you travel out of your house, travel out of your house for 1 month, and you come back, you meet a deal?
The thing about that estimated billing, I mean, it's not that it's just being rammed down our throat without any avenue for us to complain or channel those complaints. We all know that the NERC says time and again, but I know that there are people who will say, well, we've taken our complaints to them, but nothing has happened.
I am an example.
But there are those who will also say, no, we actually have complained and we have been attended to. So
yes.
How do you
No. The fact of being attended to maybe let's say 1 to 5% of
1 to 5%.
Yes, I can assure you. And I fall into that 1 to 5%.
Did you go through the whole hog?
Yes, I did, and I got adequate remedy. I was even given what do you call it, a prepaid meter.
So that's a good story then.
Because I went all the way. Consumerism does not exist. That's the problem. We do not follow through the process. When we go somewhere and we are responded to, we can't take it to the next stage. Even in my office today, I am still suffering from estimated billing.
What would you say resulted in your success?
Because of my persistence. Perhaps I knew my rights. Let me give you the situation just in a few words, in a few minutes. I had a meter in my house. I was reading it. When the NEPA official...
You were reading it yourself?
I was reading it myself. Yes.
I didn't know you had expertise in...
You don't need to have the expertise. You just note the last... the last number. And when next they are coming for reading, you note the same number. You make addition and subtraction. You get the units you have consumed. So you keep it. They will read it. They will go back. They will come back with exorbitant bills, and I'll go to them and I'll say, look at it, I read it, the last one, and I'll give them evidence, and they will plead with me that they will correct it, but that since they have already computed it, that I must still pay. So we kept on it, and I wrote a petition to the Ikeja Distribution Company. There was a public hearing on metering. I went to that public hearing. I laid my complaint. I wrote my petition again. I continued following up on it. I even visited the MD of that company that time, and he solved my problem. So I am someone who is like 1 in 100 Nigerians. Hardly would Nigerians know that they should have that right. I was ready to go to court if I didn't get remedy. I could have approached the court with all the documentations, having given them the required pre-action notice. And perhaps the fact that I am a lawyer, and I made it clear that I was a lawyer and that I was going to go to court, maybe must have helped in remedying the situation. So the important point there is that only a few percentage of Nigerians get any form of redress.
All right, that's where we anchor today. Mr. Ikechukwu Ikeji, a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Most obliged. Thank you for having me.
All right, then we'll be back in a moment. Join us again.